Hello, George. Got into Food Forest. Ran out of worm containers at market last week. About to make a few more. Thought I'd explain the process of how I make these and show what we offer. Show how I make us if you want to make your own, or look us up. We'll set you up with a full setup. This with the worms for it, the bedding, a lot of cocoons to get started. So we have two different 5-gallon buckets we use. Nice small one fits under the sink. A taller one with a nice carry handle, more mobile. The other two we do is a 27-gallon and a 15-gallon. They're very similar shape, just different volume, different depth. The smallest one's easy to show with. There's a bottom as well. You shouldn't have any leachate come out the bottom. You don't want any moisture. If you're getting that, you're adding too much moisture to it. I never water my worms. But if it does, there's that there. It's also so you can put it on a carpet or anywhere you want, not worry about stuff coming out the bottom, worms coming out the bottom. It's a 2-bin system. So what we do is I'm going to drill holes every 2-3 inches, maybe 4 or 5 inches, just plenty of holes all the way around this, up a third of the way, and all through the bottom. I'm going to do that same thing to the other one. What that does, I use in plastic. There's no real other option though. Other things would break down. What that does allows us to put one inside the other like that. And we'll start off, if you got a system from me, I used to just buying worms. That's the way I did it. Ripping up some wetted cardboard, putting that in there for bedding. That's your carbon. When that carbon's in there, you can start adding food scraps. So what I used to have people do is, if you're going to do that, you put food scraps in one corner to start with. Put the food scrap, put some cardboard over it, or whatever carbon source you're using. Peat moss, I don't suggest, but whatever. Leaves, anything, wetted, shredded leaves. And cover that nitrogen, that food scraps. You put it in one corner to start. A few days later, when you have it again, you do the next corner, diagonal, and so on until you do all 4 corners. What that would do is allow those worms to crawl over there, put that biotic life over there, those bacteria over there, start breaking things down. And that's what breaks the food down and the cardboard down, and then the worms can consume it. It really speeds that up. So instead of selling a pound of worms now, I sell someone a half pound of worms. Put in that half pound of worms, or a little better than a half pound. There's going to be close to 1,000 cocoons. And those tiny little cocoons have 4 baby worms inside of them. So once those hatch, within 3 months, they'll be adults and breeding. So you're going to have a surplus of worms getting that system going. But you're also going to have that soil food web, as Elaine Ingram talks about, as many people talk about now, Matt Powers. So that soil food web is going to have those bacteria, those fungi, those protozoa, those microarthropods, those nematodes. Hey, I'm making a video here. Go on by. Go see your sister. What do you guys see? They never squawk like that. One's in a meeting inside. What that was all about. Okay, where was I? Drilling these. We drilled these. We could have just sold the worms with the bedding. Allowed them to crawl off through it all 4 corners. So instead I sell it with that bedding, the worms, the eggs, and that soil food web that's in there already is already capable of doing all that decomposing. So the decomposers, the microbes, the bacteria and the fungi, and then the ones that feed on them, the protozoa, the flagellates, the shelled amoebas, and so on. It's fascinating what goes on. Anyways, worm bins. So by starting with that bedding that it comes with about 1.5 gallons to 2 gallons of bedding, depending on what size, 1 gallon to 2 gallons of bedding, the worms and the eggs. You just put that inside. From there, you're always going to have carbon and nitrogen like any compost pile. So think of the food scraps, or kitchen waste, as our nitrogen. So take that nitrogen, make a layer of that. If you crush it up a little first, or you're able to break it down first, it really helps everything out. But it doesn't need to be done, it just slows the process down. So we'll put that down. We'll cover that with some shredded, ripped up, wetted cardboard, shredded, ripped up leaves, peat moss if you have to, and carbon source. We'll continue to do that up through the layers. Just keep adding the kitchen scraps when you get them, carbon on top. As soon as you're half full or better, 3/4 of the way full, you put the top one on. At that point, you'll feed the top one until it's 3/4 of the way full. At that point, with one of these, less than a month, one of these maybe more than a month and a half, most all the worms have figured out that most of the food's gone in the bottom. All the food's gone in the bottom at some point, and they're going to find that food in the top that you've been feeding. So they self-harvest themselves through all those holes that you drilled in this up into the new bin. Once that's complete or close to it, you just remove that bin, harvest these castings, use them, and start the process over. You've been feeding the whole the other bin in the meantime. The castings that are in here, you're never going to get rid of all the worms that are in there. They're absolutely fine to use in your garden and inoculate it. Or you can dump this out, make small piles, little mounds, come back in an hour or less, take that cap off overnight, and the majority of the worms will be just under that cap. You can harvest them, put them back in. Or you can do light deprivation, shine light on top of it, harvest your castings, plug them back, and the worms keep diving down to get to the bottom. So that's how we do it. It's very simple. All you need to do it is a 1/4-inch drill bit. I'm going to do it because one is in a meeting, and drill those holes. I also suggest you use a chisel on the inside. When you go to the inside, after you drill that hole through there, it's going to leave a little sliver of plastic out the other side. So take the chisel on the inside and just knock those off. So when you reach in there, you're not cutting your hands on that leftover piece. So these are real simple to make. I believe I charge 65 and 55, the different sizes. There's not a lot of breakdown there. I'm not gonna have 4 different prices. And that comes with everything you need. It comes with the worms, the eggs, the compost, the bins, and they're pre-drilled, ready to go. All you gotta do is add food scraps and begin composting. Again, worm composting is a safe way to compost without having to get those giant piles going. So if you don't make a minimum of 3 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot in a compost, it doesn't get hot enough and doesn't stay hot enough. So you can't make a real safe compost. You can't get up to the right temperature and hold it there. So the worm compost, instead of getting up to temperature, it goes through that worm system. And by doing that, you're ensuring that you've got rid of those disease pathogens that might be in there in those food scraps, or any weed seeds that might have been added to it. It's a beautiful, beautiful cardinal right there. I'm George, Phat Ninja Food Forest. Let us know if we can help you out with worms, castings, complete compost system, or a breeder bin. Change better than holiday and long overdue. Peace.